Something I feel like I haven't played a lot of lately is short action games. There's been long RPGs, shooters, and indie games, but something I was craving was just a fun short action game, and I was recommended Control. Coming out in August of 2019 for Xbox One, PS4, and PC, Control is an action-adventure game with some third-person shooting mechanics. Now, this is a classic game combination that I haven't touched in a while, and I'm excited to explore the story, the mechanics, the side content and collectibles, and the graphics of Control to see where this game ends up on my list. The story of Control starts early on with giving your character, Jesse Faden, leadership in the Federal Bureau of Control, or FBC. You could say in some ways the game gives Jesse control of Control, but that's kind of too close to a pun, so I'm going to stay away. When you start the game, you're searching for your brother Dylan, and with your new leadership, this task becomes really interesting. People from different departments of the FBC need your help, and for some reason, they all just allow and agree with the fact that you're the new director. Like, shouldn't anyone be questioning this? Are there no rules or regulations for this sort of thing? I guess not, and that actually really helps Jesse in the long run. People willingly give you additional access to new areas, which really makes this world sprawl and helps you see all of the areas in the FBC. As you progress through the story, you learn of the madness and disease called Hiss that took over, and you work to eliminate it as best you can. As mentioned before, this is helped along by people who work for the FBC that have avoided the Hiss by donning devices called HRAs, which keeps them sane and healthy. There are a lot of acronyms in this game, by the way, but don't worry, when you're actually playing the game, it makes sense. Now, one of my favorite personal story characters was Adi, the janitor. The way he interacts with you at the beginning of the game really helps set the scene for what's to come. And the more you see of him throughout the game, the more you realize how crazy of a story this is. Now, overall, I would say the story of this game is very cohesive and allows for some confusion that does get resolved as time goes on. Because of this, I want to give the story 73 points. When I started Control, I worried that the beginning mechanics of the game would be what we get. You start the game with the gun called the service weapon, an object of power, and initially I saw some upgrade options but didn't really know what else we would get. It turns out we get a lot of mechanics in this game, and some admittedly are a lot more useful than others. There are two very useful objects of power you get in the game that give you new powers. First, you get the ability to throw items around with a telekinesis-like ability. This can be used to destroy other objects in the area, and of course, used to defeat enemies. There's something exciting about using a gun to shoot some enemies and then pick up some concrete from the ground or a lamp in a room and just hurling it at an enemy for the final hit. The second coolest ability is the ability to levitate. You gain this about halfway through the game or so, and while it doesn't directly deal damage to enemies, it absolutely changes how you play the game. You can fly free as a bird for a limited amount of time at least. I felt powerful just being above all of these enemies and raining down gunshots using telekinesis to destroy enemies. It truly felt like I was in control. For that, I want to give mechanics 68 points. Control has a pretty good sized story, which I covered previously. However, aside from the main story, this game's location, the oldest house, contains plenty of secrets. First off is the side content. During this game, you can get called away for emergency bureau needs. Typically, this is just kill X amount of enemies to clear an area. You also get side missions, which can involve traveling all over the oldest house to clean things up, kill enemies, and find additional objects of power. There's a decent amount of side content, and it is really fun. But what kind of open area game would this be if there weren't collectibles? In this game, the collectibles really run wild, and you find a bunch of them everywhere. Audio logs, reports on objects of power, even employee ID cards are options for you to pick up in this world. Some of the more interesting collectibles come in the form of the hotline phone, an object of power that lets you communicate with the mysterious board of directors, and also the former director of the FBC. There are a total of 261 collectibles, or 262 on the PS4 version of the game, and each one will take you deeper and deeper into the lore of this game. However, you don't need all of them to get all of the achievements or trophies, thankfully, so you only need to get them if you want to see that 100% and learn literally all there is to learn about this world. With all of that being said, I want to give side content and collectibles 66 points. Now, with a game that has really good story, mechanics, and side content, you'd really hope that the graphics in this game are good as well. In general, your hopes would be answered. This game looks really cool. The art style is almost realistic, but with this stylistic, almost cartoony choices that accentuate the characters in the environment in really interesting ways. This feels good when playing the game, the right items are able to stand out, collectibles especially are easy to find in the game, and there are actual signs in the environment that make it feel like you're actually in some sort of federal building. The signs will even point you in the right direction, so instead of pulling open your map every 5 seconds, you can just easily walk around and see where to go. One other thing with this game, however, is frame rate. It's usually pretty stable, however when it dips, it really noticeably dips. I played this game on a PS4 Pro with a disc, and while it was only once every few hours, I'd rather it not happen at all. I've heard it was worse at launch, and I played it a while after launch, so it hopefully will continue to get better. But if it's something that bothers you, know that it could happen. All this wouldn't matter though if the game didn't just look really freaking good to begin with. Without that base layer of amazing art in this game and amazing character and environment design, I wouldn't even talk about anything else because I wouldn't care. With all of that being said, I'm giving graphics 59 points. I was craving a shorter action game, and Control truly delivered for me in so many ways. It delivered with a story that got 73 points, it delivered mechanics which got 68 points, side content and collectibles for 66 points, and graphics for 59 points. This totals the game out to 266 points, putting it 1 point higher than Super Mario Odyssey, but still below games like Marvel Spider-Man and Death Stranding. As corny as it is to say, this game gives me some feeling of control in the world. It feels like everything I'm doing is for the betterment of my character Jesse and better for the Federal Bureau of Control. I definitely recommend giving this game a playthrough and completing as much of it as possible. At least get all the trophies, all the achievements, because they're not that hard and it's really fun. Now with all that being said, this game is now on my game list, and I appreciate you watching. Check out the description for more games that I've been playing lately, to find my Twitter, which you should definitely follow. Last, subscribe and maybe leave a like and comment if you enjoyed this video and if you want to see more videos like it.